Hello students, welcome to another section of topological space. In this section, we will discuss properties of continuous function on a compact topological space. So we have a theorem, every continuous real valued function on a compact space is bounded and attains its extrema. So suppose we have a topological space X2 and which is compact, right, CMPT compact, and F is a mapping which is real valued. Which is real valued means range is R. So F is a mapping from X to R, okay, and this function is continuous and X is compact. Then we need to prove that F is bounded. F is bounded means its range is bounded and this function attains its extrema on its domain. This is we need to prove. So I take let X to be a compact topological space, and F from X to R be a continuous function, F from X to R be a continuous function. Okay. So first we prove F is bounded. First we prove F is bounded. So how will you prove a function is bounded? Its range is between two real numbers. Okay. So for that I define let X is a point belongs to our domain capital X. Let X belongs to capital X. Now define a set Jx corresponding to a point in capital X. I define Jx, which is an interval, which is an open interval. Its endpoints are f of x minus 1 and f of x plus 1. That means for any x belongs to capital X, suppose this is our real line, okay, then our map is a function from x to R. Then for every x in capital X, you can consider fx. That will be, suppose here, this is some f of x. Then you consider fx minus 1 and fx plus 1. These are clearly two real numbers, left of fx and right of fx. Then you define an interval, left entry is fx minus 1, right entry is fx plus 1. Okay. Clearly this function, since f is a well-defined continuous function, this set will be well-defined. Okay. അതെന്തായാലും റേഞ്ചിലായിരിക്കുമെന്ന കാര്യത്തിൽ സംശയമൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. Now, since it is an open interval, it is a segment and real line is nothing but a topological space under the usual topology, then every open intervals are open in real line with the usual topology. So Jx is an open set in R with the usual topology. Then Jx is an open set in real line with the usual topology. I write tau u. Okay. Now we have assumed that f is a continuous function. That means inverse image of open set is open. So here Jx is an open set. I write here Jx is an open set in R. Since f is continuous, f inverse of Jx will be here, which is a subset of capital X and which must be open. Ready? Since f is continuous, comma, f inverse of Jx is open in X. Okay, f inverse of Jx is open in X. I take f inverse of Jx as new variable Vx. So corresponding to every point in capital X, I can get an open set to Vx, which is nothing but f inverse of Jx. And you can see that clearly the point X will be belongs to f inverse of Jx because f of x is a point in between this interval because it is a midpoint of this interval, right? So f of x must belongs to jx. Therefore f inverse of jx must contain the point x. ശരിയല്ലേ? So clearly x will be belongs to vx. Okay, x will be belongs to vx. When we fix a point x and fx minus 1, fx plus 1, in between fx minus 1, fx plus 1, there will exist fx, then its corresponding inverse image will contain that point x. Okay. So corresponding to every point small x in capital X, I can get an open set in capital X which contains small x. Okay. So now consider collection of all sets Vx such that x varying over capital X. Then corresponding to every x in capital X, you consider some Vx for some x1, then you get some Vx1. For any point x2, you get Vx2. And including all these elements in capital X, corresponding to every element, you consider an open set Vx containing that element. Then this collection is nothing but collection of open sets in X2 and their union can contain capital X. Okay. Consider this collection, comma, which is an open cover because every element in this collection is an open set. Vx is open cover of capital X, which is nothing but an open cover of capital X. And we have assumed that X2 is a compact topological space. Since it is compact, since X is compact, every open cover of X has finite subcover, comma, therefore this collection has finite subcover. Collection Vx x varying over capital X has finite subcover. That means that means we can choose finitely many elements from this collection in a particular order. So for that I take there exists some x1, x2, etc. xn such that our total set capital X is contained in union I equal to 1 to n Vxi. So Vx1, Vx2, etc. Vxn are the finite number of elements in this collection whose union contains capital X. Okay. So we get finitely many open sets Vx1, Vx2, etc. Vxn. Ready? So since our capital X is compact, it can be covered by using finite many open balls x1. Suppose this is Vx1 and this is x2. This set is Vx2. Suppose x3 and we have Vx3, etc. Some Vxn containing that point we have Vxn. So these are the finitely many open balls, open sets in capital X to cover capital X. Okay. So using these finitely many points, you can consider corresponding images. You can consider f of x1, f of x2, etc. f of xn. Okay. Corresponding to these xi's, I consider f of x1, f of x2, f of x3, etc. f of xn. Then you take their maximum and minimum. Using these functions, the image of functions, I define, let capital M is equal to maximum of the set f of x1, comma, f of x2, comma, f of x3, etc. f of xn plus 1. 1 is a real number. And small m is equal to corresponding minimum of f of x1, f of x2, etc. f of xn minus 1. So I choose two real numbers capital M and small m such that capital M is equal to maximum of the images f of x1, f of x2, etc. f of xn plus 1 and small m is equal to minimum of these entries minus 1. Then small m and capital M are real numbers because F is a real valued function. These are real numbers. Real numbers, maximum of real numbers is a real number. Plus 1 is again a real number. Similarly, minimum of real numbers is a real number. And minus 1 is again a real number. So these capital M and small m are well defined real numbers. Okay. Now I will prove that these small m and capital M are the bounds of our function f. Okay. So let x is a point in capital X. I choose an element small x belongs to capital X, which implies x belongs to Vxi for some I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. n. Because whole x can be contained in union I equal to 1 to n Vxi, because it is a finite subcover for cover x. When x is an element belongs to capital X, that must be belongs to any of these Vxi's. So x belongs to Vxi for some I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. n. Which implies x belongs to Vxi means x belongs to, what is Vxi? Vxi is nothing but f inverse of jx. Vx is defined as f inverse of jx. Okay, what is jx? Jx is f of x minus 1, f of x plus 1 interval. So Vxi means f inverse of jxi. So f of x will belongs to jxi. That is f of x will be belongs to the interval fx minus 1 comma fx plus 1. This is jx, f of xi, f of xi minus 1 comma f of xi plus 1 for some I. For some I. Okay. So when we take x belongs to capital X, we get f of x belongs to our jxi or f of xi minus f of xi plus 1. So which implies f of xi minus 1 less than f of x less than f of xi plus 1, because it belongs to some interval a b. Then that element is in between a and b. Okay. I can write this. So f of xi minus 1. And you can see that what is small m? Small m is equal to minimum of corresponding f of x1, f of x2, etc. f of xn n minus 1. This is our small m. Then if you consider any f of xi minus 1, f of xi minus 1, this will be always greater than m, because small m is the minimum of these f of xi is minus 1. So any of f of xi minus 1 will be always greater than m, because m is the minimum. Okay. So I can write m is less than f of xi minus 1 less than f of x less than f of xi plus 1. Now what is capital M? Capital M is the maximum of f of x1, f of x2, etc. f of xn plus 1. Therefore, if you consider any f of xi plus 1, which will be less than capital M, because M is the maximum of these numbers. Okay, so this will be less than capital M. So you get small m less than fx less than capital M. So for any x in capital X, we have corresponding f of x is lies between small m and capital M. So small m and capital M are well defined real number such that small m less than fx less than capital M for every x in capital X, which implies our range of the function f is bounded. That means f is a bounded function. F is a bounded function. Okay. Now we want to prove that this function f, this continuous function f attains its extrema on capital X, on compact topological space capital X. Okay. So for that, I define let L comma lambda be the supremum and the infimum of f over capital X respectively. Okay, that is L is nothing but supremum of f of x, x varying over capital X, and lambda is equal to infimum of f of x, x belongs to capital X. I choose L and lambda be corresponding supremum and infimum of this function. because every real valued function, bounded real valued function has supremum and infimum. Okay. Now I want to prove that f attains its extrema. That means its corresponding supremum and infimum of a bounded continuous function, real valued function, attains on its domain. So for that I need to prove that to show that there exists some x1 comma x2 belongs to capital X such that f of x1 equal to L and f of x2 is equal to lambda. This is we want to prove. ഏതോ രണ്ട് പോയിൻറ്റ്സ് എക്സിനകത്തുള്ള ഏതോ രണ്ട് പോയിൻറ്റ്സ് x1 x2 എഫ് ഓഫ് x1 ആയിരിക്കും അതിൻ്റെ മാക്സിമം, അതായത് സുപ്രീമം, ആൻഡ് എഫ് ഓഫ് x2 ആയിരിക്കും അതിൻ്റെ ഇൻഫിമം എന്ന് നമുക്ക് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യണം. ഇൻഫിമം ഈസ് ടേക്കൺ ആസ് ലാംഡ, സുപ്രീമം ഈസ് ടേക്കൺ ആസ് ക്യാപിറ്റൽ L. Therefore we need only prove that there is 2 points x1 and x2 such that f of x1 equal to L and some f of x2 equal to lambda. This is we need only prove. Okay, we will prove this. Similarly, in a similar way, we can also prove this. Okay. I assume, suppose f of x not equal to L for every x in capital X. I assume the contrary part. That means for f of x not equal to capital L for every x in X means f does not attain its maximum or supremum on capital X. I assume fൻ്റെ മാക്സിമം ക്യാപിറ്റൽ എക്സിലുള്ള ഒരു പോയിൻറ്റ്സിലും എക്സിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. സുപ്രീമം എക്സിൽ ഏത് പോയിൻറ്റിൽ നിങ്ങൾ വാല്യൂ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചാലും അതായിരിക്കത്തില്ല അതിൻ്റെ സുപ്രീമം എന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ ക്ലെയിം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ അസ്യൂം ചെയ്യുന്നു. നമ്മളൊരു കോൺട്രഡിക്ഷനിലേക്ക് എത്തിച്ചേരാനാണ് പോകുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ സപ്പോസ് എഫ് ഓഫ് എക്സ് നോട്ട് ഈക്വൽ ടു എൽ ഫോർ എവറി എക്സ് ഇൻ എക്സ്. ഏതോ ഒരു എക്സിൽ ഇത് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യണം. അങ്ങനെയേ ഇല്ല, അതിൻ്റെ കോൺവേഴ്സ് നെഗേഷൻ ആണ് അസ്യൂം ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഐ അസ്യൂം ദ നെഗേഷൻ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദിസ് ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ. ഓക്കെ, now define a function using this assumption. I define a function g from x to r such that g of x is equal to 1 by L minus fx. I define a function g from x to r such that g of x is equal to 1 by L minus fx. Since we assumed that fx not equal to L, L minus fx is a non-zero value. Therefore 1 by a non-zero value is a well-defined one. Therefore g is well-defined function, and it is continuous also, because rational functions are continuous provided denominator is non-zero. Here denominator is non-zero always. Well-defined function and continuous also, and g is continuous. So now g is a continuous real valued function defined on capital X, where X is nothing but our compact topological space. So g is a continuous function defined on a real valued continuous function. Therefore g is a real valued continuous function defined on a compact topological space X. So we already proved that any function which is real valued, continuous, defined on a compact space is bounded. So by that result, g will be a bounded function. So then by above, g will be bounded function. G is bounded because we proved that f is bounded if f is real valued, continuous and defined on compact space. So here g is well defined, continuous, real valued and defined on a compact space capital X. Therefore by above part g will be a bounded function. Okay, now let r be a positive number. R be a positive number, non-zero number, then 1 by r will be again positive. Then you consider L minus 1 by r. 1 by r is a positive number and which is a very small number. Okay, you can consider some epsilon. 1 by r can be considered some epsilon. Okay, then epsilon is positive. Epsilon will be a positive small number. Then you consider L minus 1 by r. It is of the form some L minus epsilon. Okay. And you know what is capital L? Capital L is nothing but supremum of f of x, x varying over capital X. So capital L is nothing but supremum of the function small f. What is supremum? Least upper bound, LUP. Least upper bound is called supremum. When L is a supremum, L is the least upper bound. When L is the least upper bound, it is the least. So L minus epsilon cannot be an upper bound. Cannot be an upper bound. Okay, L minus epsilon cannot be an upper bound. So by using this idea, L minus 1 by r is nothing but some L minus epsilon. Okay, so L minus 1 by r cannot be an upper bound for fx because L is nothing but supremum. So L minus 1 by r is nothing, L minus epsilon. So L minus epsilon, L is the least one. So L minus epsilon which will be smaller than L, which cannot be an upper bound for the function fx. It is not an upper bound means there is an element which violates this property. So then you can consider there exists an element x naught belongs to capital X such that f of x naught will be greater than L minus 1 by r. Because it is not an upper bound. It is not an upper bound means there is a value which is greater than this. Okay, this is not upper bound means there is a value of function which is greater than this L minus 1 by r. So there is an element x naught such that f of x naught will be greater than L minus 1 by r. So which implies 1 by r will be greater than L minus f of x naught, or r will be less than 1 by L minus f of x naught, and 1 by L minus f of x naught is nothing but g of x naught because g of x is defined as 1 by L minus fx. So 1 by L minus fx naught is nothing but r is less than g of x naught. R is less than g of x naught, or g of x naught is greater than r. What is r? Any positive number, where r is any positive number. Positive real number. So for any positive real number r, g of x naught is greater than r. If you take any r, g of x naught will be greater than that one. അപ്പോൾ ഏത് r എടുത്ത് എന്ത് വാല്യൂ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനേക്കാൾ വലുതാണ് g of x naught എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം എന്താ? g of x naught is increasing. Value of g of x naught cannot be defined, which means g is unbounded at the point x naught, which implies g is unbounded at x naught, which is a contradiction because we have g is bounded by previous result, which is a contradiction to g is bounded. Therefore there is no such function g. Therefore g cannot exist. G cannot exist means f of x equal to L for some x belongs to capital X will be true. That means, which implies f attains its supremum on capital X. അതിൻ്റെ സുപ്രീമം എക്സിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു പോയിന്റ് അതിൻ്റെ ഡൊമൈനിൽ എക്സിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, അറ്റൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്തത്. ഇനി സിമിലർലി we can prove that f attains is infimum on capital X. So every continuous real valued function defined on a compact topological space will attain its extrema on its domain.